Hello, everyone. Hello, it's Lisa Turner here from Psycademy. Okay, so I have been having a bit of a think and a bit of an observation. So I don't know about you, but have you noticed that there seems to be a lot of fear and a lot of doubt around right now? It seems like a lot of people are doubting themselves, but doubting like what they're told and what they used to believe was true. I'm really aware my microphone's right there, but that's okay. It's just there. Now you know how you can hear me, right? You can trust there's a microphone because you can see it. So what I've noticed is there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of doubt. So people are doubting themselves, they're doubting what they've been told, they're doubting their past beliefs, and they're in fear because they don't seem to be able to trust. They don't seem to be able, and it's not only that they don't trust themselves, they don't seem to be able to trust anything. And I'm not saying nobody trusts anything. What I'm saying is what I've observed. And this is just my observations. I'd love to know your take. So I'm going to give you what I've observed and what your take on this is. So I have observed there's a lot of people who are believing in things that look like conspiracy theories. So, by the way, I am not going to get into like what's true and what's not true. So things like vaccines are bad or vaccines are good. I'm not going to get into that debate. The earth is flat or round. I'm not going to get into that debate. I will say this though, if you believe that the earth is flat, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that. And, you know, as an engineer, I've got a degree in engineering and a PhD in mathematical modeling, and I've just signed up for a physics degree. I can tell you the earth is round, right? Okay, but here's the interesting thing. So why is there so much doubt? Why is there so much fear? And why do there seem to be so many conspiracy theories? You know, the belief that, you know, that there's a reptilian nation taking us over, that big pharma are controlling us, that 5G are about to annihilate our third eye, or something. And by the way, again, I'm not getting into the debate on that. That's another whole conversation. And, you know, you need to understand the inverse square law to understand about electromagnetism. So, hi, Yvette. Hi, Sue. Hi, Vicky. Hi, other Sue. So good to see you. So let's just look at the structure of any conspiracy theory. And so if you've been around me and Psycademy for a while, you know, we work from this basis that, and this is not unique to Psycademy, the idea that we are the creators of our universe. And we either live from the perspective of that everything we experience in the universe, we have on some level, consciously, often unconsciously, attracted or created. And and I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying it's a very empowering belief to come from. Because if you hold this belief that on some level you are creating your universe, and again, that's another whole video. We do whole trainings on that, and it's based on the filtering mechanisms of our senses and our patterning of our unconscious minds, and that will recreate what we experience internally. And so you either live your life from the idea that I am at the effect. So if you think of cause and effect, so we call it living at cause. And either you live at cause where you go, okay, well, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going to work on the basis that I'm the creator of my experience of the universe. That doesn't mean it's my fault or I'm to blame or whatever. It means I just created that. That's just what happened. That's what my programming did. And then I'm in the position where, like, if I want to change it, I can either physically go and change it, and that's a good thing, or you can go inside and make some changes inside, and that will have an influence on outside. Sometimes you need to do a bit of both. But normally you need to do a little bit of both. But if you only change the external, you'll repeat patterns. And if you only change the internal, like, you'll feel better about it, but not the world outside of you won't. Sometimes it does miraculously change, but not always. So we start from that basis. And that was like, normally we spend about a whole day on that whole concept. So we'll just agree that and again, not saying that's true. Let's just work from that premise that on some level we're the creator of our universe. So then, conspiracy theory. Here is the structure of a conspiracy theory. There is some organization, group of people or persons or spiritual beings that are more powerful than me, and they're out to get me. So there's two pieces to it. Number one, they're more powerful than me. Number two, they are deliberately, frequently, either maliciously, like with intent to get me. I am going to get you, kind of, you know, like they're out to get us. Right? So there's two pieces to it. So here's my take on this. Why this happens? This is just one little piece of it that I think why it's happening. Hi Raj, nice to see you here. Welcome. Okay, so if you, I'd love to hear and read your observations as well. So here's my take. Like as an engineer, you know, I worked in auto engineering, so I lectured in auto engineering, so I used to teach people about cars. Now, I would say about 2 decades ago, there wasn't much on a car that I didn't understand, and it's not just me. So there wasn't much on, like, the average person could repair or at least understand what was wrong with pretty much most of their car. They may not have understood the specifics of it, but they understood enough to be able to fix most of their car, or at least understand what the mechanic was saying. That's no longer the case. Like, I have no idea about what goes on in my car right now. And I have a PhD, you know, I have a degree in engineering. I used to lecture in auto, I worked and researched in auto, and there are huge bits of my car, don't know what's going on. And, you know, so I still to this day do not know why when I take the handbrake off, the radio comes on or goes off. I don't know why. The radio just comes on. I don't know. I don't understand that. And I just turn the radio off. And my husband, when he drives my car, he's like, "Why is your radio doing that?" And I don't know. It just does that. It just turns itself on randomly. I don't know. So there are bits of my car, I have no idea how they work. Now, here's the thing. I don't really have a problem with it, because I know that if I wanted to, I could go and figure it out. But I choose not to. I mean, and that's the case. You know, a couple of decades ago, pretty much most normal people would have understood most of what was going on in their car. They might have chosen not to, you know, fix it themselves, but with you know, you didn't need to have a PhD in engineering to understand the basics of a car, right? And that's no longer the case. You now pretty much, in order to understand the engine management system and the electronics, you probably do need something akin to getting probably a degree, if not a PhD, in some kind of software coding. And there's software coding. You know, I did a lot of stuff with coding. I don't know the language that they've used. I didn't even know what the language is, let alone understand that programming language. So we're in this position, you're in this situation where the world has got more complex. I mean, even you take medicine, you know, medicine is like, we've understood so much about medicine. There are concepts in medicine that, 10, 20 years ago, it seemed to be pretty basic. You got a disease, you took a pill, you know, and it's like most of the time we understood the mechanics. You were exposed to this pathogen and you got sick. And now we know that it's way more complicated than that. We know it because the research has gone further and deeper. The healing modalities, the research into medicine, the medicine that we have available to us is way more complex. We know that multiple systems in the body interact with each other. And so here's the thing. So we've come to this place where most of what we live, you know, like there's bits of my house I don't understand. I don't fully understand. Let's face it, who can figure out how to program their cooker, right? You know, like I actually do understand how to do it, but I still have to look it up. So, you know, I don't understand. I've got a fuzzy logic controller on my washing machine. I know what fuzzy logic is, but I don't know the specifics of that. So we live now in this society, in this universe, where there are groups of individuals, organizations who are probably with good intent. I tend to choose to believe that, developing technology that the average person, and by the way, I don't mean average as being like dumb or anything, like just the averagely intelligent person. And you're probably a specialist in this field, but you're not specialist in that field over there. So it's like, I'm not a specialist in medicine, I'm a specialist in engineering, but even then I'm only a specialist in one bit of engineering, aeroacoustics, noisy fans of one specific machine. That's the depth, that's the specificness of the specificity of my PhD. So if it was a noisy fan of a different machine, my mathematical model, I wouldn't even be able to apply it without doing a whole bunch of work. So what's the point I'm making here? The point I'm making is we live in a world where the depth of our knowledge has got so much greater. So where we used to, you know, if the depth of our, you know, if the average person could understand here and the depth of our knowledge was about here, most people could understand most things. Now we have the average person who might be specialist in one area over here, but over here, in another area, you may know nothing or almost nothing. So the average person has no way, average person here, no way you can understand that level. You know, you just don't have that depth of knowledge. So what you get is you're now at a choice point. there are bits of the world, bits of our society, bits of our system, finances, business, there are bits of my business that lots of my team just don't understand. One of my team just did not understand my cash flow spreadsheet and profit and loss of a particular course. That's okay. That's not her job to know that. I need to know that. But we got, so you're in this situation where you now have a choice. Most of the world is more complex than you will averagely understand unless you get really intellectually you choose to exercise your intellect. So you either trust that specialist over there knows more than me about that particular topic. I am going to trust that specialist, that they've done their work, they've done their due diligence, that they understand more than me because they are a specialist in that. And I'm not. And that's what I do. There are certain things that people are specialists in that I trust them. Or you learn that, and you learn how to research. And this is where I think is the other piece that's come in. So first of all, we got the average person with average intelligence. Now this is going to seem a little bit controversial, but just bear with me. And I'm just presenting it as a hypothesis. I have no idea if this is true. This is what I suspect might be going on. So average person, like 10, 20 years ago, when you got a new bit of electronics, you had to figure out how to make it work. There was a fair amount of reading the instructions and figuring it out. Now you get an iPhone, it's plug and play, isn't it? You just click the next button, pick your language, pick your location, put in your name, put in your password, boom, it's gone. Does anyone know about object-oriented software that's not a specialist in object-oriented software? I'm not even sure I got the name of that right. If I have got it wrong, feel free to correct me, because that's not my specialism, right? So I trust that somebody has programmed my phone that it's going to work properly. Somebody's programmed my car that it mostly works properly, except my radio comes on at random times. That's nice. I like the radio. So we're at this point where the world has got more complicated, and the world has been simplified for most people. Like the user interfaces have got so good that for most people is plug and play. Click a few buttons and it works. Like I used to, when I first got a PC, it was in DOS, and I still use DOS commands, much to the surprise of other people in my vicinity. What on earth are you doing? Just going into DOS, because sometimes Windows won't let me do things that DOS will way more quickly. Like DOS is pure. You haven't got all this coding over the front that you don't know what it's doing. So I can go in and work in DOS if I need to. Thankfully, I don't. So you have a choice. Either you can learn, and you need to, for a lot of people, that will mean overcoming this. I'm going to use this term and it's going to sound really rude, but it's kind of like there's a baseline of a lot of people, obviously none of the people watching this, because you're all intellectually highly athletic, shall we call it? But there's a level of intellectual laziness that people don't question, and they don't learn how to learn. So all they do is they see somebody who's in a position of what they perceive as authority, and the only authority they have is that that individual or that group have done the research, they've done the work, and they've learned the stuff. So they've learned a whole load of stuff. And then, so somebody else has done the learning. I may not have done the learning. So I now am in a position of choice. I can either choose to intellectually really research it and figure stuff out, or I can trust that this person who has done it, and normally there's all sorts of systems and checks around it, that they know what's really going on. So either I learn about it or I trust that they know about it. So here's my question, and this is my invitation to you, just to kind of look in the world. Where are your assumptions? Where are you assuming that and because here's the other thing about knowledge, right? Typically when you have people with not much knowledge, and by this, nothing to do with intelligence or intellect or anything like that, it's just like how much stuff you know. So when you know a little bit about something, you tend to overestimate. People who know a little overestimate what they know, and people who know a lot underestimate how much they know. Because once you know a lot, you realize, whoa, there is even more, right? So and this shows up, so my cat's wanting to go out. So this shows up in assumptions that people make. So one of the things I do, and I do this a lot, it's like, I like to challenge my own assumptions. So whenever someone, like I'll hold my hand up, right? This is going to sound nutty. So the flat earth, a flat earther came my way and just, oh, you're just rejecting it. You haven't even done the research. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I haven't. I'm going to damn well go and do this. I'm going to check this out. maybe NASA are tricking us into that the Earth is flat. So I did a whole bunch of research, and I went way, way, way down and down into the research, and I found that as best as we can establish, the Earth is round. I did the research. Now, probably easier for me because I have a degree in engineering, a PhD in mathematical modeling. So like a lot of the physics that demonstrate that the Earth is round are, that takes a little, if I came from, I was further ahead than perhaps somebody who hasn't done that. And again, there's no judgment. It's just, that's where I've studied, right? I've studied that. I've studied spirituality. I've studied the human mind. I know nothing about biology. So I don't get into those discussions. I do know a little bit about how science works. So I understand the scientific method. I understand that. So, hi, Claire. Oh, and Sean's here too. Hi. So my invitation is challenge your assumptions and ask some questions. Ask some questions of yourself. And again, I'm not saying any of the conspiracy theories are true or not true, because that's actually the big red herring here, right? Because people get arguing into the argument. And I've done it, vaccines are safe, vaccines are not safe. And it's like, that's not the point. In fact, that's not the point of this. It's like, where are we making assumptions everywhere in our life? Where are we trusting, where we should be researching and investigating? And where are we like making superficial bits of research that let's face it, and here's something I'm going to tell you, right? The most newspapers and blog article what do you call it, like online article places, like I'm not going to name any of them because it might sound like I'm saying they're bad, but most of them are not peer reviewed, right? The way to trust the articles, the way to trust the knowledge is look for the peer reviewed research. And people go, well, how do you find that? I Google it and it doesn't show up. You go to a site, and in different countries they are. And when so I use Athena, which is, you can, and you don't need to pay for it. You can see the abstracts, which tells you just like the basic findings of every peer reviewed science article. So where are you trusting when you should be researching? Where are you researching but not enough? And where are you not trusting where you could absolutely just trust, and then you don't have to be in that place of fear? Because anytime you're in that place of fear that there's some organization, institution that is more powerful than you, you have put yourself at effect and you've turned yourself into potentially a victim. It's like, if you just taking that cause and effect, I'm the creator of my universe and I've created this universe where there's a whole bunch of people that are out to get me. It's like, well, I don't know about you, but I would choose to create a universe where I personally believe most of the universe is out to support us, all of us, each of us. I really believe that. And that's my choice of belief. And if our beliefs create our reality, imagine if more people believed that, imagine what kind of reality more people would be creating. So start to believe that the world is a fundamentally good place. Yeah. And work to making it an even better place. Because going into the fear, either yourself and then dragging other people, look what the world is doing, look what these people are doing to us. The more we do that, the more we create a place of fear. Now, I'm not talking about being stupid and naive. It's like, go do the research, trust your intuition. Your intuition will say, oh, what's going on here? There's something I don't know. There's something's not sitting right here. And and the intuition is not, it's wrong. It's, there's something I need to research. There's something I need to explore. So, and one of the things that makes us humans so amazing is our intellect, our ability to know, to have this balance of intuition and intellect. And in the tarot, those two cards, Emperor and Hierophant, intuition, which is logic and intuition, they sit right next to each other in the deck, Emperor, Hierophant. So you need logic first, and intuition rests on logic, because you can't actually you can't intuit about something that you don't know about. The intuition will give you the little tap, go have a look at that. But then you'll need to go and have a look at it and explore it. So that's my little thought for you. And Claire says, I'm loving cause and effect this week. So my invitation is to love it every week, even when it looks like you've created something, right? You're at the effect of the thing you've created. And even if it looks like a big pile of poo, celebrate the fact that you now recognize that you created that big pile of poo. And it's just as effortlessly, because it probably was effortless, right? To create that pile of poo, you can uncreate it, because that's where you get power. So Good to see you. Reminds me of what tarot cards did we use in Bristol? That was the Universal Weight deck, which is very closely related to the Paul Foster case, which is from the builders of the Adotium organization. I've been studying with them now for about 4 years, I think, something like that. But I've been they use a funny word. It's a neophyte, something like that. I can't remember. I can't remember the word. They use a funny word. Anyway, so that's my little thought. So I'm just off to get my hair cut. I've just come back from the gym, had a quick shower. I'm going to get my hair cut now because I'm running a retreat next week. So I thought I'd cut my hair for it. Then you can tell me how pretty I look next week, everyone. So, so those are my thoughts. Are you in a place of fear and doubt and lacking trust? Do you need to go and learn something, research something, and really research it? Like, be willing to let go of what you thought you knew. Where are you making assumptions? Where are you, where are you resonating? Because this is the thing, emotions are powerful. It's easy to resonate with a powerful emotion like fear and then get caught up in it. Where are you choosing to resonate with that rather than going, oh, that's interesting, they're resonating with fear. Okay, I'll choose to not do that. There's something I feel I need to learn. Go learn it. If that's what you want, if there's something you want to go learn, really go learn it. Don't trust, because here's the thing, that we often trust the wrong thing. There's people who, they take the peer-reviewed articles, they skew it, they miss bits of data out, they distort it, and then they'll say, oh, look, this many people know this, or this many people have been suffered from this. And then it's like, a number on its own, by the way, is meaningless. That's my first thing. One number is meaningless. If somebody says, 100,000 people died of whatever, you need to look at from what, like in context, like what were other people dying from? Okay, that's just, or suffered from or whatever. Because unless you compare a number to something else, it's meaningless. So those of you who are, same with flat earth stuff, like compare one number to another. One number on its own is meaningless unless it's compared with another number. So find and ask yourself, what's the number I need to compare this with? So I'm going to be a little controversial here and just look at the number of people who suffer vaccine injuries, because that's the number that's always bandied about to say vaccines are dangerous. That number is meaningless unless you compare it to another number. And the question is, what's the other number? Well, could it be number of lives saved, number of people who used to suffer injuries from the disease that the vaccine presented? So, by the way, I'm not saying vaccines are safe. I'm just saying go do the research and compare the number. What's the number? If somebody's giving you a number that says, look, 100,000 people had this injury, okay, compared to what? What's the other number? And there might be multiple other numbers, but go and do the question. So I'm not saying vaccines are safe or they're not safe or whatever. I'm just saying, go find the number. Go find the number. Who knows? Who knows? So where are you making assumptions? Where are you listening to things that don't serve you? Where are you being dragged into the fear? Where can you stand in your power? Because here's the other thing, the last thing I'm going to leave you with. I know I kicked my microphone stand. So if you're an aspect of source, then surely you have within you the full power of source. And the only reason you don't experience that is because for some reason you've chosen not to, or you've been told that you don't have that power. So where are you denying your own power? Right, I need to go to the hairdresser. I will see you soon. I just realized the time. I need to be in the car. Alrighty. So that's a number. I'm comparing the time now to the time I need to be there. That's how you do that. So lots of love till next time. If you like this video, click the lovey button. If you think someone else would benefit from it, share it with them, tag them in it, whatever. I will see you next time. Bye for now.